Aaron Reutzel embracing the villain role in sprint car racing. Why didn't more Outlaws use a free pass? Silly season musical chairs continues, and more on this holiday edition of the Daily. Let's go. It's Monday, May 26th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you spend any amount of time at the racetrack, it's important to protect your hearing. And I'm a big fan of the premium earplugs from EARGASM. They're pretty small. They fit right into your ear. And they actually look like this. Little tiny guys. They've got like this little, almost looks like kind of like a little speaker thing on the end of them. But the good thing is you can put them in your ear, wear them for protection, but you're still able to have a conversation with the people around you, which that's perfect for the racetrack. I wear these at the track myself. I've worn them when the NHRA comes here, and they're great for even the top fuel and funny cars on track. They are a bit pricey, but if you use code DIRTRACKR10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off of your order at EARGASM.com. That's code DIRTRACKR10, DIRTRACKR10 at checkout for 10% off at EARGASM.com. Big money on the line last night at Port Royal with the Weichert Memorial getting a late bump to $100,000 to win. We ended up with just 3 World of Outlaws drivers using a free pass to come race against High Limit. That included David Gravel, Logan Schuchart, and Zach Hampton. I honestly thought we might get a few more given the pay bump, but it's interesting to note how little success Outlaw drivers have had at Port in the recent past. The last full-time Outlaw driver to win there, back when it was on the Outlaw schedule, was Donnie Schatz in 2019. The previous 9 Outlaw races at the track were all won by either posse guys or outsiders. David Gravel with the best average finish at Port among full-timers over the most recent 12 Outlaw races, but his average finish is 7.2. Guys like Gio Scelzi, Sheldon Hudenshield, Carson Macedo, maybe Buddy Kofoid, all of those guys with average finishes outside the top 10, and some of them well outside of the top 10. I did a show almost a year ago about the best home field advantage in dirt racing, and the title definitely continues to go to Port Royal. I talked about Port then, and I still kind of believe that now. This Port situation also makes me go back to the whole free pass thing in the first place. 12 sprint car teams were about 5.5 or 6 hours away yesterday and decided to not tow to race for $100,000 to win. Maybe the added freedom just isn't all it's cracked up to be, especially for certain teams. At the checkered flag last night, it was Aaron Reutzel taking down the big money for the Ridge & Sons Racing 87 team. He led all 40 laps from the pole, but did have to battle at various points with Anthony Macri. Macri actually led after the fuel stop, but the move was negated by a red flag, and then he very briefly led again later on, but just couldn't hold on to it. Macri ended up settling for second, with Lance DeWeese going 7th to 3rd. Gravel went 10th to 5th, and Schuchart was 8th after starting 5th, if you're curious about some of the Outlaw drivers. The other Outlaw driver in Hampton had one of the uglier sprint car crashes we've seen this season. On the restart after the fuel stop, he got over Brian Brown's right rear into turn 1 and crashed really freaking hard. I was definitely glad to see him out and walk away from that one. It was a shame because he was actually hanging around in the top 10. He shared to social media a little bit ago. He will be racing tonight at Atomic, continuing his first World of Outlaws season. Back to Aaron Reutzel. That was high limit win at number 3 last night of the season. And as we kind of talked about early on, he's showing himself to be the problem that we thought he could be. He's fast really often, and if they can continue the type of consistency we've seen over the last 5 races, they can continue to climb the rankings here. Remember, he's still trying to dig a bit out of that hole from Las Vegas when he got hurt and had to miss the feature. Reutzel really seeming to be embracing the villain role here also. The Posse fans were certainly not afraid to show their disdain for him, especially after he tangled with Cody Hartlaub last week at BAPS. But last night in Victory Lane, he made sure to acknowledge his detractors and called out the quote, and put the earmuffs on the kids, stupid shit on social media. When was the last time we had a bit of a villain driver like this in high-level dirt racing? I certainly remember Donnie Schatz getting booed a lot, but that was just because he won all the time. And Brad Sweep talked on the Flow Series Dirt 2 about being a sprint car villain, which we talked about here on the show, but it seems as though Reutzel has risen to kind of another level, and he definitely seems to be okay with it. I'm curious, though, what other examples you guys can think of some villain-type drivers in dirt racing. The $100,000 score, easily the biggest payday of Reutzel's career, and it's almost hard to believe that was the first ever 6-figure payday in Central PA. That was what Flow Racing's Tyler Burnett talked about before racing got started yesterday with gravel. I hadn't heard that one before. Looking ahead, Lawrenceburg and Butler next for high limit coming up Friday and Saturday. No change atop the series standings. Brad Sweet still leads Tyler Courtney. Brent Marks, Rico Abreu, Reutzel, the rest of the top 5. If the season ended right now, the 6 additional high limit franchises would go to the RSR 87, the Rudine 26, the KKR 9, the Myers 14, the Rod Gross 88, and Chase Randall's 9 machine. Moving on to some silly season stuff, because we know that just never ends. Ohio sprint car driver Trey Jacobs revealed in recent days that he's been let go from the Demian Rudzik 49X ride. Jacobs made just 2 starts in that car, which included a 10th place finish in the All-Star opener at Attica and a 13th place finish 2 weeks ago at Sharon. Jacobs was actually a late call-up for that ride, as Kel Thomas was originally slated to drive it for a full All-Star run. Thomas, though, quit the deal to take the Shark Racing 1A seat after Jacob Allen retired, which, as you might remember, lasted just 3 races. Thomas was sacked after crashing the car twice and was replaced by Ashton Torgerson. Since then, Thomas has made 3 high-limit starts in the Beaver 12X. Jacob shared that he will continue driving his family 3J while also seeking other opportunities. He was a winner at Wayne County last weekend and finished 15th against the Outlaws on Saturday at Attica. Word on the streets is that the 49X may be going right back to where it started for its next driver. Racing does happen in circles after all. If the 49X is indeed sticking with the All-Star plan, their next race would be June 6th at Williams Grove. Other Sunday sprint car winners included Brandon Spithaler with Fast at Knox. Scotty Thiel was an IRA winner at 141. Caleb Johnson won yet again at Huset's. And Justin Sanders capped off a big weekend with a Sprint Car Challenge Tour win at Marysville. Tanner Holmes picked up win number 3 on the year with the 360 score at Cottage Grove. It's a good bounce back for Holmes after a tough start to kind of the summer here in his own 18T. They've had several kind of ugly crashes with that car. In late model action, Max Blair took down more PA cash with a $7,600 win at Erie's. Some wild photos of his night there floating around on social media. Tyler Erb was an Ironman winner at Crystal, and Mike Marlar and Dennis Erb Jr. were $5,000 winners with the Ultimate and Mars series, respectively. And modified winners from yesterday included Stuart Friesen and Cade Dillard. Friesen won with the Super Dirt Car Series at Weed Sport. He bounced back from a broken shock during hot laps with his car needing to be towed back to the pits. The Super Dirt Car Series right back to it today with a stop at Thunder Mountain. And Cade Dillard wrapped the USMTS weekend at Mason City Motor Speedway with the victory. He was fresh off of racing with Lucas at the Show Me 100. Other action to check out today includes the World of Outlaws sprint cars at Atomic. There's also Short Track Super Series. There's 410s again at Huset's and more. To see a rundown on your streaming options, stop by DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight. That's the show for today. Hope you guys have a great Monday out there. Enjoy the Memorial Day holiday, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.